Gods around the world and from the great beyond. Welcome back to another episode of the Schtuff podcast. We're just thankful you're still here, right? I am your host, Anthony Claiborne, joined all the way from the other side of the planet by my good friend and partner in crime, John Espy. And we are stoked today to have an awesome guest with us. He is actually, I tell you, I just got to go right out of the gate. I'm excited because this guy is a game changer on the musical scene, whether you realize it or not. And we're going to get to that in a little bit later on.
Yes,
John,
we will.
Introduce our guest.
What's up, everybody, man? I'm so happy to be here again. We have our buddy, our friend, our pal from the big state of Arizona in Phoenix there.
AZ,
baby. Jon Macek, right? John is a Christian rapper, right? He is got some flow for a white boy. He got some flow. I'm just saying. He's
some
like
hustle as well.
As I've told him before, he spit some fire. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm glad to have you here, man. We're so happy you come and join us and hang out with us for a little while, and let's just talk about some what makes Christian music, what creates Christian rap. Like we're going to kind of go everywhere with it. But first, let's start off like where you originally from, man. Tell us a little about where you started at.
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm out here in Arizona. I'm in Phoenix specifically, and I've been out here for about 15, 16, I guess 18 years at this point. Time flies, right? I've been basically in the same-ish area of Phoenix. You know, there's all kinds of suburbs, Mesa, Scottsdale, all that stuff. I'm in specifically Phoenix. And yeah, man, moved around a couple different places around here, but right now I'm living with a friend and looking towards the future, man, in a good spot right now.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And so, like, what else been going on? Like, what got you into music, man? Like, what brought you from hanging out in Arizona and Phoenix to go?
So where did you move there from, if I can ask? You said moved out. Where did you grow up originally?
Sure. Born in Washington State. Dad was in the Air Force. 4 years old. My parents moved to Lake Havasu City. So it's about 3.5 hours west of here on the border of Nevada. And I was there until I was 14. That's a whole story. My mom kicked me out of the house. If you guys want to get into that, we can get into that. A bit of a troublemaker. But I started, you asked me about music. I started getting into acoustic guitar while I was in Lake Havasu at 12 years old. So hopefully that kind of answers both y'all's questions. Yeah. But that's where music started for me. I was an acoustic guitarist.
Wow. So like playing like some Dust in the Wind, like rolling with some John.
Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway.
Yeah, or like some Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. At the very beginning.
So what were like some early musical influence? Like what were some early ones for you? Like what's the earliest impactful music that you remember? What's the first thing you remember like kind of hit you as like, oh, I like this song?
So I am. It depends on what circle I'm rolling in, but I consider myself a bit older than most of the people I hang out with. And so I remember, when cassette tapes were a thing, right? And I would listen to cassette tapes all the time. Yeah. Carmen. Y'all remember Carmen?
Yeah, we remember Carmen.
I used to rap to the Carmen cassettes, man.
Oh Lord. I got literally, you bringing up Carmen. That's one of my questions on here.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like the first Christian rap that was
horrible.
Cool.
He was cool though, but he was cool because he was the only one doing it.
I guess in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I guess, but whatever works.
Oh my gosh,
I like that.
But anyway,
I still love Mission 316, man. So
I'm telling you,
people
slept on Carmen, man. People slept on Carmen.
I remember one song by Carmen that I like jammed out to, and it was like Witch's Invitation, and that's the only one of his I liked. Everything else I was like, oh man, this is horrible.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. To be perfectly honest, it wasn't great. Yeah. So I listened to Carmen on cassette, but you asked me one of like the first influences. Honestly, man, the first CD I ever owned was DC Talk's Supernatural. It was the first actual compact disc that I ever got. Yeah, I'm getting the thumbs up from Anthony over there. Anybody who knows me, man, I freaking love DC Talk. It's a
Yeah.
life goal to rap Jesus Freak with them on stage. I listened to that Supernatural CD over and over and over again. I loved it, man. And it's funny because that was one of my early influences, but also Limp Bizkit was one of my early influences. So like I used to listen to their CD on the bus, you know, whether my mom wanted me to or not. You know?
Oh, the biscuit had some jams, man. Like people
was
been
hard,
hate on them
dude.
now, man. They good. I like Limp Bizkit back in the day, man. I listen to a lot of that stuff.
Wait a second. You mean that kids like actually listen to things their parents don't want them to listen to?
Apparently, yeah.
No, I'll tell you real quick what I used to do. I'm a musician too, John, and back in the day, I was like, I shared on another podcast how my cousin introduced me to Metallica, and I would take these cassettes that were on the acceptable list in my very conservative home, and it's amazing what a little bit of Scotch tape can do.
Right.
I'd Scotch tape over them tabs and hand them off to my brothers on the bus. And the Beach Boys would come back the next day as Ride the Lightning.
Oh, yeah.
You bootlegging some Metallica.
Oh, man, we bootleg like it won't. No. The public library had records you could check out, John. And we had that dual tape.
Oh,
we had cases of Memorex tapes,
Before
man.
burning
I didn't know
was
what a
a
real
thing.
tape was like.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Oh man. So you went from Carmen
Right.
to Limp Bizkit.
And Limp Bizkit.
So like
God is big, man. I don't know what else to say, man.
That's all right. It's all right, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Man, so is that what, like, did you always like rap, or did you, I mean, of course you like, DC Talk, which I would say DC Talk probably was ahead of the rap game in the Christian community, man. Like
Absolutely.
Toby Mac and those guys were like already kind of hitting in that genre a little bit, and before really anybody in the Christian world knew what was going on. It seemed to be.
Yeah, they were ahead of the game, man. I mean, the stuff they put out was so it was refined, man. I mean, they really had solid voices. They were like a boy group, but not really a boy group because they were kind of older. They were kind of cooler. And like their lyrics weren't corny. Like some of the lyrics you hear from some of these guys was like, God is good. God is great. Let's praise
Jesus
God
is my friend.
every day. Yeah,
Jesus is a friend of mine. I'm my friend. Had a friend in Jesus.
That's a throwback right there. I remember when I first heard that song, I was like, I kind of like this, but it's kind of really corny. Like, I'm not sure if this is cool or not. Like, that's one of those things. It's like Nickelback, right? Like, you don't
exactly
really, like everybody hates Nickelback, right? But they also have 50 million listeners. So
exactly.
Right. So somebody ain't telling the truth.
Somebody's lying about Nickelback.
You hit on a good point about DC Talk. Now I'll say this real quick. And I got a question for you. They really, one of the things I love about them was the music they made was very, they took a lot of risk. It was unapologetically, even in the face of what was considered, acceptable. Because you think about the landscape when they hit the scene and the quote unquote contemporary Christian artists who were already on the scene, it was kind of like they were disruptors. Slow
ballads, we got to be reverent. We can't have fun. We can't have too fast music or too hard of beats.
I mean, they straight up, like the video for Jesus Freak. I mean, you could take the music off, and some people out there listening might be like, that's what's wrong with it. But you could take the music off and like put on something like daggum Everclear over top of it. And the dance, all the movement, everything works.
Yeah.
They were disruptors. I love that about them. I've actually had the pleasure. I was telling John earlier, I used to MC concerts, and I MC'd K-Max's last concert with Audio Adrenaline.
Oh, cool.
I've got an autographed album they gave me and whatnot. But so I got to watch that from the wings. Super interesting dude. I hope he'll be on the show one day. From me, like his voice is one of the most underappreciated and iconic voices of the entire generation, whether you're talking Christian or not Christian or not. Homeboy is just like phenomenal.
Extremely talented. Extremely.
You talking about so you had Toby Mac, The black guy, I have no idea what his name.
Michael Tate.
Okay, Michael Tate. And then the other white guy. That's Kevin Mack, right?
Yep.
Yeah, K-Max. Kevin Max.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I know who he is. But
he is. He was kind of like the third most popular. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The third guy on the 3-man in.
But he was, dude. He was so good.
He was like so that song. What if I stumble? Like his voice on that one was like, man, that was like, that was my jam.
The rest of his story too. Yeah, I'm not going to tell the story because I want him to come on the show and tell it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If you know the rest of his story that happened years later after that song, it makes that song that much more poignant. It really does.
Right. I tell you, there was some them shaking people up, man. Like there's actually a track on, I think it's the outro for the whole Jesus Freak album or something like that. But it's like a Southern Baptist like choir director or worship leader singing like what would people think if they hear that I'm a G-? It was like done very like intentionally corny, intentionally just kind of like get out of here with that stuff. But that was like edgy. I was like, wow, they just kind of poked fun at something that everybody had been holding completely sacred for some reason, like a sacred cow kind of thing up. And it was interesting to see how they did that.
I want to ask you a question, John, and then we're going to get into your music, my man, because I seized on this and like I've kind of filed it away in the back of my head next to random historical facts. You mentioned the fact that your mom kicked you out when you were 14. Do you mind talking about that a little bit? Sharing with us kind of what happened in your youth, because I feel like maybe there's some things there that probably brought you to where you are as a Christian rapper.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, huge part of my story, dude. So my dad and my mom got divorced. I think I was 4. So my mom took, me and my brother, and we lived in Lake Havasu. And, not having a dad around, lots of people can relate with that, right? Fatherlessness is rampant, and even people who have dads present may not feel an emotional connection or may not get that quality time that they need. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of people who struggle with fatherlessness.
Sure.
But looking back on it, man, it was one of those things where I was acting out and I didn't even know it. So what happened? I've told this story many times. It was Christmas Eve, and just a regular day, right? We're doing chores. Me and my brothers at the time. Yeah. So my mom had a third son, so I'm oldest of 3, and we're working, whatever. I'm doing dishes, and my mom said something. I don't know what it was, but I just took it wrong. You know what I mean? When you just, it doesn't matter how well-intentioned somebody says something. You're just in that mood. I was 14 years old, and she said something that hit me wrong. And I was like, I made some smart-ass comment back that I never should have made. But, hindsight, Lord's in control, right? So I look back and I go, all right, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But it was like, whatever, Mom. Like, you don't do anything or something. I just said something really dumb. And she comes over and she takes her slipper off and she kind of gets at me with her slipper.
Wait, was your mom Hispanic?
No, but the chocolate was real, dude. I'm telling you. So,
sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. And really nothing serious. It didn't even hurt, whatever. But it sent 14-year-old me into a tizzy. I picked up the phone and I dialed 911. Now my mom.
Oh, he did the I'll call
you
the child abuse.
Listen.
Oh man.
What I learned from that is that the fastest way to get the cops to show up at your house is dial 911, let it ring once, and then hang up. Because my mom came over, she slammed the phone down, and that dude showed up real quick.
Yeah, that tends to happen.
Oh my God.
So long story short,
it was a mistyle.
Right. I'm sorry. I didn't. I think she did. She like blamed it on my little brother. Whatever. It was meant to happen. In hindsight, I look at it and I go, hand of God was on it the whole time. That night she was like, you can't live in this house anymore. I packed my bags. My dad was actually visiting his parents who also lived in Lake Havasu. I showed up with bags in hand, like, Mom kicked me out, guys. So that was 14. And as you can imagine, that definitely set me on a whole different path. I came to Phoenix. I joined a basketball team. I still have friends from basketball to this day.
That's cool.
And one thing leads to another, right?
Well, that's awesome.
Wow.
Man. I mean, that's amazing to see how God does work through those really hard situations. And
it was rough at the time.
Yeah, but it shapes and molds you. If you know, as you surrender to God, as you surrender your life to that, and you see Him molded and shaped, and you look back and go, oh, I see the hand of God there on that one. That's the beautiful part of coming through those things. Going through it sucks, but
Dude,
you know,
it was hard for a while.
Yeah.
He really had to like put some people in my life and heal my heart about that for sure.
Good.
That
Forgive
was my
mom.
next question.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, who did he bring into your life to begin to refine you, and to, you know, at what point did you make that decision to follow Christ and to make him the center of your life and begin, you know, to come to terms with all that? Because I can only imagine. I mean, my mom and I, we had a weird relationship. Like, we had some knockdown, drag out arguments when I was a teenager. I grew up in church, but I didn't become a Christian, a true Christ follower, until I was 16. And I was expelled from public school when I was a freshman in high school. If that tells you anything, you got to do some stuff to get expelled from public school.
Yeah. Punch a few kids.
Oh yeah. They wouldn't let me take shop. They would not let me near tools.
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying?
We gotta have some
Smart.
talks. We gotta have that's a
Probably
side,
smart.
that's a side conversation we need to have about shop class here soon. But go finish your story. I had to just put that on the map, so we'll put a pin in that. Come back to it. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
But you know, we obviously we reconciled, and I ended up preaching her funeral, you know, years later, when she passed and so on. But so that's a big deal when there's a rift between you and any parent. But I don't know, it's something about mom, man. It's something about mom. I mean, some degree or the other, if we're honest about it. So kind of walk us through, like, who was integral in bringing you to where you needed to be and into relationship with Christ, and what that reconnecting and rekindling, if you will, with your mom was like.
Yeah, so we are, my mom and I are on good terms. I saw her, you know, last week. I took her out for Mother's Day. I was out that weekend, but, you know, we went and had Cracker Barrel. That's where she wanted to go, right? So,
good woman. That's a good woman.
We might have different opinions on Cracker Barrel, but I love my mom. She loves me. She did the best she could. She's even said a couple times, she's like, I tried so hard with you guys. I was like, Mom, you did fantastic. I should be dead in a ditch. You know what I mean? Like, you did great. And God took care of the rest. And I really believe that, you know what I mean? So, you asked me kind of who I met and stuff. So I came to Phoenix, I met some basketball players, and I got really heavily involved in playing basketball here. So I have friends to this day that God really, he just gave me a community. You know what I mean? He gave me some people to where I wasn't just alone, even though it kind of felt like I was, you know? It felt like I was having to deal with all this stuff by myself, but I really wasn't. And I never was, you know, God never left. As far as other people he brought into my life, I had a pastor for a while of a church I was going to. I led some worship there. I even was a youth pastor for a while. He was a mentor in my life. When that split, eventually I met John Correa, who you guys had on the show last week, man. And that whole church, I actually ended up leading worship at his church for a while. And that whole community to this day is my church family, AKA just my family. Those people know me better than anybody, most people on this planet do. And God, they have shown me the love of Jesus straight up. And it was actually not until around that time I started going to that church that God was really, really, truly sorting out the final, you know, getting over that last hump of forgiveness with my mom. Because it was like, yeah, I forgive you. It's in the past. But there was always that, like, kind of, there's that root of bitterness, I think, sometimes it takes a hold. And we hold that against someone. And it's almost like I don't know how to get rid of that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do it. And it was only through meeting people, you know, community and talking with other believers that he was finally just like, all right, we're getting rid of that. Almost like surgery. It really felt like.
Were you performing at this time? Were you creating? Were you writing during this time frame of that happening? Like, was your music starting to kind of form during that time, or had already formed, or what was did if it had already formed, what did the writing help you kind of process that, and kind of as you were producing things, did it help you kind of get a lot of that stuff out? Like, how did that play a part in that healing process with you?
I was just talking to my mom about this at Cracker Barrel, and she was like, I'm gonna go home and journal. And I was like, you know what? my music is my journal.
Mm.
And she goes, I hear that. I hear it. You know, you talk about things in your music I never knew. And I was like, it is, you know, and part of me is like, I want it to be less journal and more like a product that I can give to people that will help them and that will lead them to Jesus ultimately, right? I don't want it to just be therapy for me. But it has been, man. I mean, ever since playing the guitar and getting to do rock band stuff, and we can get into that if you want. I got to travel a couple times. I was in Taiwan twice, not Thailand, but Taiwan, with rock music, and then falling in love with hip hop, and that being a new outlet, a new, almost a better way to explain what was going on and to convey how I was feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hip hop.
So absolutely.
Yeah, there seems to be like a rawness that's in that hip hop that's not in other genres. I mean, country has a little bit of storytelling that you can get kind of raw with it, but like hip hop seems to have that raw. And the thing is, like, I stopped listening to hip hop in like '98. I was like, you know, after Tupac died, I was like, yep, I'm done. I'm done.
Over.
It's over.
A lot of people feel that way.
It's like
a lot of people feel that way.
It's over. And so, so I don't know, like, the transitions that's happened in the hip hop world. And I was kind of like pop back in because my kids are getting older to start listening to music, to other music and stuff. And now I'm like back in. Now it's like everything's like pop, like it's not hip hop. It's like pop, techno.
Genres are blended.
Yeah, it's like there's no like.
Well, there's still a few good storytellers in there, and I know some of my brothers out there who, when I say this, they may be like, I can't believe that he listens to that, but whatever. It's our podcast. But like Jidenna and Common.
Jidenna, nice.
Common. That's like.
Ooh, and Common? Ooh, okay.
Those are two guys that I listen to. Like they have this ability to tell a story, and Jidenna like just lays it down. Like, you know, I was a school teacher for years, and I would refer some of the young brothers that I taught to Jidenna because he could say things to them that I couldn't say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Stuff about not being able to spell, but knowing I Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
I like classic man.
Yeah,
I'm a classic
stuff,
man.
I love the way my brother
fire.
dresses, man. He like this is awesome.
And Common, I think low-key Common either might be a believer, like a closet believer, or searching hard, man. Because I think he's like right on the cusp there.
He's an incredible actor too.
Yep, very talented dude.
He was in Hell on Wheels. I was like, I loved that series. He's a fantastic guy. Those two are dudes that I would love to sit down and just talk with and just chat with. Those are two guys that I would just love to talk with.
Coming up next year on the Guy Schtuff podcast.
Exactly.
There you go.
Common.
There you go.
And a guy named Jidenna.
Remix.
We're both redheads. So at what point, you know, did you kind of go, okay, I feel like it's time to start sharing, you know, this with people. It's time for me to start sharing this with people. And for those of you guys who don't know who Jon is yet, you need to go to Spotify and listen to my brother. Homeboy's got like almost 7,000 followers a month. And I mean, like, that's like what we aspire to do when we grow up. So
you got what, like 6 albums out or 3 albums out? How many albums you got out there, man, so far now?
I think I got 3 albums and a mixtape, maybe an EP and a bunch of singles.
Every rapper got to have a mixtape.
You got to have a mixtape.
I was burning that thing and handing it out at church, dude. No joke. No joke, dude.
At the back of your truck, you're like, hey,
100%.
man.
That's right. That's
100%. I'm not even joking. You can ask Jon.
That's awesome.
That's
John. Hilarious. That's hilarious. That's great.
I asked him, I was like, hey, can I get my mixtape out of church today? He's like, go for it, dude.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I gave my mixtape out of church.
You can't do that with worship music.
I gave my mixtape out of church.
like that's not acceptable, right?
Just
like,
imagine
rap,
like
you can hit out a mixtape and that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see the boys from like Hillsong United handing out their mixtape from the back.
Yo, bro, check us out, man. Check us out.
Worship
good stuff, man.
That was something, man. Looking back, I'm like, I can't believe he ever let me do that.
That's
But
awesome.
it goes back, like you said before, God puts certain people in our life for certain reasons, certain points, and certain places for things that he's going to use to glorify God, glorify himself, and build the kingdom. So, man, like that, I think it's a wonder, or it's not a wonder, that God put you right there with John, because, John is a super, super sweet guy that just is a giving guy. I love him to death, man. Great guy. And to put him right there in order to help you to cultivate that artistic side of you, to get that out there, man. I think that's a beautiful thing. Just that, in who God's put in your life to be a part of that journey, I guess.
And I'll say this too, that's what that needs to be the culture we have in our churches.
Absolutely.
We were talking about DC Talk earlier. What a lot of people don't realize is, and John and I are both LU grads, so LU, when you want to just go ahead and sponsor us and be done with it.
LU, baby.
But Jerry Falwell could have squashed that to some degree. You know what I'm saying? But he fostered that. A lot of people don't realize is that he really was fostering that behind the scenes. My understanding from what I've read and heard is he was fostering that and really giving them, space. And it's important to have people in the church community. I mean, obviously we got to have them people to slap us in the back of the head too and go, yo, that is like Christian porn is not a thing. Stop, or something
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that is not of God.
Yeah, but it's almost more rare somebody who says, "Hey, man, like go for it." You can use this space or use this, like you said, kind of give them their room.
We need that, and for me, that was like I started leading worship when I was like 19 in a youth group, like so many of us did, right? But there needs to be that, and I really personally, I love hip hop. I grew up in we were talking about this earlier, John and I, in the rural South. A lot of times the lives that, and not completely, so don't anybody misunderstand me, but there are a lot of commonalities between the life of a poor white person and a poor African-American person. And me personally, I grew up from the time I was 14 to the time I was 22. Every single job I had was in the predominantly black part of town. I was the only guy only other white dude within a 10-block radius was a cop. And so I was exposed to a lot of hip hop. And so even as, a 47-year-old dude, now I don't even mind telling my age, I'm 47. I still will go back. I am seasoned, my friend, like a fine wine.
Like an old oak branch that fell off a tree sometime. Anyway, my bad. Keep going.
Hey, man, you put bourbon in barrels and let it age. That's all I'm saying. but there are elements in your music, I that to me harken back to a lot of that almost 90s feel. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a flow and there's a little bit like I hear Christian rap and there's Christian rap that I hear and I'm like, okay, that's nice. I appreciate that, brother. But I don't know. I connected with. So, is there any particular? I know we talked about a few. Is there any particular old school artists? What kind of led you to that flow? What brought you to that point where you were producing what you're producing?
So like I said, I was in a couple rock bands and we got to tour internationally and that was crazy. And I honestly got to feel what it was like to be a rock star.
What band were you with? What name of the band?
So the name of the band is Echo Tribe.
Okay.
And it's all one word. And it's, the name comes from everybody kind of has a tribe they roll with, right? And there's an echo that goes out, and we were trying to disciple people, man. I look back and I was being discipled when I was in that band, and I'm so grateful to Blake. I love that guy. He's the lead singer. I love him. So I was playing music and stuff, and then I kind of lost my passion for that. And there was just kind of a lot of stuff internally. When you get dudes together and you're having success and everything, there's always going to be a conflict. There's always going to be a non-meeting of the minds, right? When stuff's really going. You go, we don't agree on everything. And I have learned, I have been taught that that's okay. You know what I mean? Like you got to move past those things. And I'm learning how to do that in my own life and seeing that. But it got to the point with Echo Tribe where I was just like, guys, my heart's not in this anymore. I'm done. And they were like, what, really? Like, seriously? And we were working on a new album and all this stuff. And I just had my own reasons. And it was one of those things where I was just like, I talked to my mom about it at the time. I was just like, this is where I'm at, guys. And I had this thing in me already where I wanted to rap because I started listening to, so this was around 2010. And I was listening to guys like Lil Wayne and Drake. They were big at the time. And to this day, Lil Wayne.
Recently around here, we had a Lil Wayne.
A Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne.
Yeah, we had Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne?
It waned all week.
See, every time, Anthony, we start getting somewhere, you bring in that daggum jokes. These jokes that I have to deal with every day.
Right into that.
I'm sorry, man. So, I'm sorry.
So to continue to answer your question, I'm falling in love with hip hop at the time. This is about 2010. My buddy Jason got me into doing some freestyle raps. We were rapping over some different beats. I had never rapped before, but I was a musician. And so that marinated for several years. It was actually it was right at the end of 2013. I was like, I want to maybe put something out. I've been working on this for a while. I really enjoy it. I'm still playing guitar, still, doing the whole thing. And there's this guy named Jon Acuff. You guys ever heard of Jon Acuff?
Yeah, I know Jon Acuff.
The name,
all right. So Jon Acuff, he doesn't know it, but he is a very, very big instrumental reason that I'm actually putting out rap music. In 2014, he started something called the 30 Days of Hustle. You guys might have heard of that too.
My wife was part of that first group.
In 2014, so was I.
That is
so was I. I went.
She tried to get me to be, but that's another story.
It was, dude. It put me on the path of actually recording and putting out rap music, straight up.
That is so cool.
And really, the rest is history. It was that January of 2014, going through that class. He had some really just awesome ways of getting the best out of people, and I just kept going. I just kept doing it, man. There have been ups and downs, and there have been, I could talk all about that. The song that really has gone off on Spotify, My Shalom, was one song that was a part of a group of songs I put out at the end of 2017, and I was ready to quit at that time. Yeah, and then it kind of took off, and I was like, okay, Lord, I've been talking to him, and like, I don't know if I can do this, and he's like, all right, we're just gonna blow this one up, and it's gonna go absolutely bonkers, more than you could ever imagine. And I was like, well, I guess I got to keep doing it then.
That's the kind of thing too. You're talking about how God brought you this thing, and that the realm of hip hop and the look and how it's changed from when I was listening to it in the 90s to now, completely different. Like you're a rapper, Christian, even though it's a Christian rapper, you're a rapper that has some tight flows and has some freaking good beats and stuff. But your album cover on Unpredictable is you playing a video game. It's like, and then the first album, is Recess with a kickball on it, and you got this stuff and you're like, it's like I said, this is just who you are. And people, connect with that now. Like people send the team to go, oh, I can be a video game geek and I can still rap, or I can still like this, right? There's no, cause back in the 90s, you were a thug.
Oh, no. You were a gangster.
You were a thug.
And that's all you were.
People, yep, exactly. Absolutely. And thank you, John, for noticing and remembering the names of my albums, dude. What?
No. I did some research, man. I did some research.
Hey, I like that.
Very professional.
Very professional.
We do lots
of. Get that dirt off your shoulders, man. Get that dirt off your shoulders.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's a totally different thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of anybody nowadays, and age used to be a thing. It used to be a young man's game.
Yeah.
Nah, Jay-Z's in his 40s. I mean, obviously he started late, but he started early, I guess. But the landscape is totally opened. Anybody can do it. Authenticity is king.
Yeah.
You hit on something right there. I'm gonna step on some toes in the American church for a moment.
Do it, man. Get it.
In the worship game. In the worship music game in the American church, because apparently that's all the American Christian can put out now is just worship music. So there is an element, and I'm thankful for the church I'm a part of. Is not like that really where I'm at. Like I'm literally like I feel like I'm the dad of the band sometimes.
Because you old as dirt.
Well, I'm 47, but I'm still rocking the skinny jeans and the boots and getting it done with so. But they let me play. But there are a lot of pockets. Like when I did my master's at Liberty, I had a professor. He was a worship professor. He was one of my worship professors. I won't call his name. But homeboy had a PhD in worship. Like this is the dude.
Yeah.
If you want about worship, this is the man you go to.
Yeah, specifically music, worship music.
Yes. Yeah. But in his home church, he was not allowed to be a part of the worship team.
Why?
Because he was over 40.
Oh,
wow. Dang. Snap. Oh,
you're saying age discrimination happens?
Yes, even in church? I'm saying in the American church, in a lot of circles, it seems like, guys, there's a lot of ageism. And now, don't get me wrong. I think we need to make room for the young brothers and sisters to exercise their gifts. That's what we need to be doing.
Amen.
But it's interesting to me that like you don't see like a somebody unless they've been doing it for a long time, but you don't see older people coming in fresh on that scene in Christian music and being accepted. But what I'm hearing you say, and I think you're right, is if you've got a good flow, the hip hop world's like, yes, I'm all in. I think that's interesting. I don't know. Something that just kind of jumped out at me, guys. I don't know.
One of the most fire albums I've heard recently is somebody you guys have never heard of. I've never heard of. Most people never heard of. This guy named Tehran, and he goes to a church out here in Phoenix, about 7th Ave and like in Southern Phoenix. And I never would have met him. I never would have known who he was. He's a sound guy at the church. I don't know exactly how old he is. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing he's in his 40s. Mm. I had no idea this dude was even a rapper. Mm. I went there. I did a show. I performed horribly.
I love
but
it.
I honestly,
humility.
I found the love of Jesus and people there that reminded me of my youth group back in Lake Havasu, and they're doing the Lord's work there in Southern Phoenix. Prophecy Christian Ministries. Good people love Jesus, showing kids the Lord out in Southern Phoenix. I performed. I was bad. And I get off stage and I'm thanking everyone. I'm just saying, thank you for the opportunity. You guys showed me Jesus today. I appreciate it being here. Tehran hands me a CD. No words, no nothing. He just hands me a CD. Mm-hmm. Says, "This you? You a rapper?" He said, "Yeah, man." Oh, okay. I listened to that CD for 3 weeks straight. Wow. It was fire. It was. I mean, there's one song on there that could and should be on the radio.
Really.
And this dude is the most humble. He did my sound. He did the sound. You never know. He wasn't talking about it. He wasn't brat. He wasn't, dude, I got this. He just did it. And, I think at the end of the day, there's some value into just doing it.
Yeah.
And we could riff on that all day. I think, in my experience talking with a lot of even Christian rappers, man, we wait and we wait and we wait. And, I'm going to do it then. I'm going to do it then. I'm going to do it then. I don't care if you're 20 or you're 60, man. If you've got a gift and you can use it to glorify the Lord, do it. Just do it, man.
Yeah.
Straight up.
There's something there for our guys, and honestly, dude, that's part of how this podcast came to be.
I'm hitting on the deep issues right now. It sounds like I got right to it, didn't I?
You hit us in the heart, man.
I mean, really.
We old and we got to do a podcast.
You guys are doing it, man. Let me encourage you. You guys are doing it, man. I'm here. Come on.
So let me throw some goodness on my friend Johnny Mac here.
Not the first time I've heard that, by the way.
We were at I was at hanging out at John's house and at John Korea's house, and Jon Macek was there, and we're talking and everything, and we did this stupid what do you call it, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song. Me and a couple guys just messing around with it and just being stupid with it, and was like, hey man, people actually responded to it, and we're like, maybe we should record it.
I thought John sounded great. I thought he sounded like
that. Ain't the point. The point of it is that, like, well, thank you for me sounding great, but I don't think it did. But anyway, the point of it is that Jon Macek wasn't like, oh, that's nice, and then keep rolling. He's like, no, man, you should probably do that. Yeah, you should do that. Like, it was encouraging. Now, he could be blowing smoke up my butt.
Oh, it was a gift. It was good.
Either way, he was still encouraging. I walked away, felt encouraged. Like, man, yeah, maybe we should. Now, we ain't did it. But the point of it is that it was an encouragement. And so, man, I thank you for encouraging an old fart to be like, hey, man, maybe we should record it.
We should still record it. I'm not even joking about that. I think, listen, we live in a culture, we live in a society of like American Idol, right? Everybody wants to be that Simon Cowell because he's cool. Because he's like, oh, I can point out all your flaws and do it and be a jerk, but like people respect me. And I'm like, dude, like, nah, I don't think so. I mean, you know, gosh, I mean, I don't want to be too like preachy with it, but like that's not who Jesus has been to me. He's always been that like, nah, just keep going, you know. And sometimes things end and you know they don't happen, and that's fine. I don't keep record of that, but.
I think you hit on something. Part of what has, in my opinion, wrecked music in the American culture and in the American church is the American Idol culture. And here's what I mean by that. What I mean by that, and I love America. I think it's great. It's cool. The opportunities people is wonderful. Yeah. But what has happened is the love and passion of making music for the sake of making music has disappeared. It's like, if you're not going to be the next Justin Bieber, or you're not going to be the next, you know, Kelly Clarkson or whoever, just name somebody. Yep. If you're not going to be the next person, it's not valuable. It's not valid. I'm not going to do it.
Right. It's yeah. Like what's your metric of success, man? Is it, you know, people act different when you get 100,000 views, man. People act different, and I'm sure John Correa knows way more about that than I do. Yeah. But listen, dude, I was still that same guy making music for the love of it before a song ever took off. And if another song never takes off, that's not why I do it. Yeah. You know, and that should. Anthony, yes, yes, man.
And it's something I've had to wrestle with as a musician, because when I was younger, I've told John, you know, it's like when I was younger, we were traveling all over the country leading worship. He's like, we're going to be the next Chris Tomlin, you know? and it had to come to a point where it's like, you know what? I don't really care what happens. Whatever happens with it. And that's not the path God took us down. And I'm glad, because I think we have opportunity to do some other things now that probably we would not have had. But we still make music. Yeah. We still write. We still, you know, or we want to record something else, but quite honestly, I'll probably give it away, you know. I mean, like, I like Keith Green, you know, but I'm telling my age, John. But I think we need to recapture that. We just need to recapture, because what do you think eternity is going to be, right? I mean, eternity in heaven, people are going to be using their gifts, whatever they may be, to glorify God. Yeah. And no one's going to be going, it was a bit pitchy for me, dog.
Right. Straight up.
Yo,
dude,
I
don't
know, dog. That's not for me. Not for me, man. Not for me.
And to add just a little bit to that, Anthony, like, you at 47 have things to say that I need to hear at 32.
Wow.
I need, you know what I mean? Like,
I've screwed up a lot. I can tell you that.
But what I'm saying is, you know, and again, don't hear me blowing smoke. That's not what I'm doing at all. What I'm saying is, when you put something out, there's going to be people that need to hear it. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. And even sometimes it's just you who needs to hear it. I look back on some of the stuff that I never released, and I went, I needed to get that out. And I'm really glad I didn't put out, nobody heard it. But at the same time, when some of my friends put stuff out, man, my friend, my buddy here, Conscience, just put out an album, and I listened to it and I go, man, I need this. I need more of this. I wish more of my friends were doing this. I got a buddy who I hooked up with a little bit here for a while and was making some music. I wish you would put out more music, because every time I hear new music from him, I'm like, oh, I need this. You know, Kanye West put out an album and ministered to me. I'm like, why aren't my friends doing this? Kanye West is ministering to me with his Jesus is King album, and my buddy over here, who I know is following the Lord, why ain't he putting stuff out? I need it. It has nothing to do with making money and having business. There are people in the kingdom of God, believers and unbelievers, who need to hear good music.
That is huge. What you just said. Now, John, I'll say this now. Shut up. I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead, man.
So I'm just like, I feel like
it's your podcast, man.
Just having a moment. But there are brothers and out there, and you know, we're primarily obviously geared for dudes, guys, stuff, but even ladies, if you're listening, just to see what your husband's listening to every week, you know, whatever it is, the gift you have, use it, put it out there. If you're a musician, I don't care if you're bluegrass, blues, Christian blues, whatever Christian blues sounds like. I don't know. I guess everything goes right. I don't know. What does Christian blues sound like? but whatever the case may be,
I don't know. Actually.
I don't know. But
I'm very curious.
We need to be edifying each other is what I'm hearing you say, and look at the edification, the ability of these things to edify, and versus become an income stream.
Right. And don't get me wrong, man. I've been around the block with that argument. You know, is it ministry? Is it business? It's both. At the end of the day, man, I've heard very prolific Christian artists say, if you're not making money doing it, you're not going to do it very, very long. And like I said, I was at that point where I let it go because I was frustrated. I think because I had maybe an expectation in mind that, hey, this should go. And really, ultimately, in hindsight, it drew me closer to the Lord, which if you ask any you know, Christian who's making music, it's probably their goal. They want to bring people closer to the Lord because they know what he's done for them and what he can do for you. You know what I mean? But it was one of those things where I was just like, Lord, I'm done. Like this is it. I give it all to you. And that's not me saying, you know, hey, let go of your dreams and good things will happen. Don't hear that. Persistence and consistency is key. Faithfulness, you know, continuing to do, you know, what you guys are doing with the podcast. Just, you go, man, I only got 50 views on this one. You know, I only got, you know, you see those low numbers sometimes, and it doesn't correlate with the work that you put in. Dude, I can relate with that, bro. I can, man.
I 3 viewers can relate too.
I thought it was both of them. What are you talking about?
Right, yeah, mom and dad, right?
Exactly.
Look,
well, mama dead, so I ain't even got her.
My dad dead, so we bat 1,000, buddy.
And my dad can barely cut on a computer, so I can't even get on it.
Anyway,
I love you, Dad.
One of the things,
I love you.
Just to wrap a real nice bow on that, one of the things that actually John Correa taught me, he said, it's not about the results, it's about the inputs. Straight up, man. If you do it for the inputs, you're doing it for the right reason. You don't worry about the results. Yeah. And I say that as someone who has started to get results, right? I've started to get results. I want to go a lot further with it. I never imagined I could be where I'm at right now with it. And it started with just do the inputs. Just do what you need to do.
Man, that's the thing is, like, we talked about this a couple of times, me and Anthony, but one of the things for me that I'm really is affecting me in this podcast and doing this and doing this a creative endeavor kind of thing is I get to talk to some really cool freaking people, like, dude, and I get to like hang out with
We're
my
the
buddy.
Cool kids table.
Exactly, we're at the cool kids table. You know,
I can't wait to see, man. I can't wait.
And so we get to talk to a lot of cool people, get to hang out with a lot of cool people, and get to just cut up and have fun, and also get to share Jesus with people, you know. And that's and like,
I think we're growing from it too, man.
Heck yeah!
I think the iron sharpening iron, you know, like things that the guest God gives us the opportunity to hang out with. In all seriousness, I personally walk away from their conversations challenged. Even our friend that we were with the other day, that we interviewed, who was a Christian counselor.
Oh yeah,
I took one little thing away from that conversation, man, that I've started doing with my own wife. That's like freaking awesome. You know, I'm not even going to tell you what it is because I'll tell you off here if you want to, John. But he you know, because I don't want to spoil it when he says it, but I'm going. And I think that, you know, everything that we do, we're going to grow in the process. You know, it's kind of the old adage of the preacher who prepares a sermon. Well, he's heard that sermon all week long by the time it gets to you. And you hit on something too, man. I think it's important. You know, for those, yes, make the music for the love of it. But if God calls you into a ministry of music, that's a different ballgame, you know, and we do need to respect and pay those guys and gals. I was telling John recently, one of the biggest falling outs I ever had, a large ministry I used to be part of, that these people flew me all over the country. Biggest falling out we ever had. Part of the reason I'm not with them anymore, they didn't want to pay musicians.
Wow.
They didn't want to do what they needed to do by them. And the Bible, I think, makes it clear that the servant is worthy of double honor. You know, like we don't muzzle the ox. That's what he says. We don't muzzle the ox. The ox gets to eat too.
Yeah.
And I think that in a lot of times in ministry, whether it be music ministry or just ministry in church in general, when people sit down to plan, you know, it's kind of like not how well can we take care of this person, but how little can we pay them and still have enough money for some new shag carpet.
Man, shag carpet. Like, what?
Well, we in the South.
Fog machine really that messes up the budget for most.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I'll tell you, I love it. I'll say this and I'm going to shut up. I promise. There's a church out in Nashville area. We got a friend who's actually he's one of the worship leaders, and they have a worship college at their church. And he's written a ton of music. As I call some of the songs he's written, you'd know him. He wrote some of Elevation's early stuff before they started writing their own stuff, or putting it out where they've written. Their church is in a very rich area. They have tons of Christian artists that go there, country artists, like a lot of money in that church. The only place on the entire church campus that has carpet is the nursery. The rest of the church, the floors are concrete. And you go in the bathroom, the counters are concrete. I mean, it is like the most stripped down facility I've ever seen in my life. And their church offices are in an old Kwanzaa hut that used to be a horse barn. And they do that. And he told me their whole philosophy, the reason they did that is not because they don't think Jesus deserves pretty things. It's because they want to be able to put more money into planting more churches and to more ministry. And I don't know, man. I think sometimes our I don't even know how I got off on that, guys, but I think sometimes
take a hard left. It's fine. Let's keep going.
It's your podcast, man.
Just ride it out, man. Just ride it out. Let's see where it goes.
I think we just get skewed. I think what I'm trying to say is we just get focused on the wrong things, man.
Yeah, facts.
And one of the things I love about, bring it back, one of the things I love about hip hop is hip hop will call your crap out.
Yeah.
Better than any form of music I know.
One of the best quotes I ever heard right about that was that Christian rap is fire. It gets you out of hell.
There you go.
And a non-rapper said that to me.
That's cool.
And I was like, dude, what greater purpose and reason to do it than to say, not save souls. Jesus and the Holy Spirit save souls, but to be an agent in what God's doing. I'm good. That'll keep me up. That'll get me up and keep me up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'll give you purpose. That's purpose right there. Well, another purpose that we kind of hit on, talked about earlier, we want to kind of come back to, is, you know, there's a lot of churches, a lot of good Bible loving people that don't really particularly like any kind of non-church music, no secular music. They like piano and organ music only in certain tempos. And one of the things me and Anthony were talking about, we talked about some other podcasts, and so is how are they knocking boots to some Christian stuff? How are they, you know, what are they, you know, wooing their wife with? Is it, you know, I mean, what is it?
You can't make love to Just As I Am.
No, you can't do that. This doesn't work. You can't do that stuff, right? So one of the things that got me, I was,
you say you can't make love to Just As I Am.
You can't, man. You can't. Try it. You try it and see. I
want
all you guys out right now tonight. Throw it on for your lady. See what happens.
Yeah. To the married men, not me.
Exactly.
Not me. To the married men.
Married guys only.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But one of the things, the song you put out called "Help," and that song, like the beginning of it, the whole beat is like is great.
You telling me what I think you're telling me?
That jam, man. That jam was like.
It is like belly button to belly button.
Be like, throw this on, baby. We got this. And so,
whatever I can do to help, brother.
it's for the kids.
But it's like some kids making time. Anyway, so the idea is like, hey, making some Jesus loving music. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's in the Bible, man. It's in the Bible. Multiplying.
Exactly.
Yep.
So maybe that's a purpose for some of our Christian
A
rapper brothers
secondary.
and soul
Listen,
people.
from a single man, all right, I'm not living that lifestyle, right? The single man of the world lifestyle. I don't do that. God got me on that a long time ago. Bro, 100%. Retweet, like, favorite, follow, subscribe to your newsletter. If we're not doing that, it's gonna come from somewhere else, man.
Yeah, man.
That's so true.
Straight up.
So Christian rappers, Christian writers.
Yeah. You need
Start
suggestions?
making-
You asking for?
Yeah. Start making
My man
some
said you
booty, some knocking the boots music for
I'm gonna
for
create a
Christians, man.
Spotify playlist, my
Yeah.
Christian boot
Yeah.
knocking playlist.
Dude, straight up. Do it.
And
Just do it, dog.
And
Just do it.
Lord, I
and help.
lift your
It's gonna be
name
number
on
one.
high.
Help gonna be number one. Help by Jon Macek. Help
Listen,
number one.
I have never heard anybody say that to me about my music, and I love it. I'm gonna tell everybody I know as soon as I get my
Well, I think it lives a lot of
I'm gonna
credibility.
tag you on
too,
Facebook, John.
Good, man.
It's going
Throw it
down,
out.
dude. It's
Throw
going
it
down.
out.
That is fantastic.
What a compliment, though. I mean, really, seriously, that in those times you would think of me. You know, I had to
Just
say.
saying. Just saying. It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Oh, I love it.
The
dude.
other thing too, man, like the song "Hustle," like I told him, like, man, that's a freaking UFC walkout song. Like,
Thanks, man.
that one really struck me. Whenever we have a guest on, we'll start researching and kind of getting to know them a little bit. So I've been listening to your stuff all week long when I work and so forth, and I keep coming back to that one. And in fact, I mean, we'll have to talk about it off air, but I told John, I was like, dang, I need that like in one of my videos for my lifestyle brand. Like, I mean, that's like, it just, but I think that, music that speaks to us, whether it be hip hop or worship or country or whatever it is, I think challenges us to response.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me, I'm going to say this and I'm going to ask you a question. Good music, regardless of genre, will always create a response. I mean, you think about even, Wagner, Ride of the Valkyries. I mean, that was written forever ago and is still
it's inspirational.
Awesome jam. Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome jam. I mean, we know that Hitler and his boys were all about Wagner, but that wasn't Wagner's fault. But
that doesn't ruin it. Yeah,
that wasn't his fault. But you think about that, and even like for me, a big song that I still love to this day is Wietrich Smetana's Moldau. It's incredible. It's good music should challenge and create emotion and a response in you. So, said that to say this: to people out there who are wanting to create, is there anything you could say to them that would help them to grow in that ability to convey that emotion without becoming so formulaic that it's like that whole thing I saw on YouTube where they edited all the top 10 country songs together and it was one song.
Right. Right.
So
originality is sparse for sure in the music industry. I would say this, man. I would say this, Anthony. I think that first of all, where's your identity? So a lot of musical artists, I think, from experience, put their identity in their music. And this isn't like an all or nothing thing. This is just, it's a percentage. It's always a slider, right? You got the sliders. Are you writing a song to build your identity and to establish who you are? Because if you are, you're already on the wrong foot. You're already on the wrong foot, in my opinion. So that's first thing I would say to any artist that is making something. Have your identity firmly established. And I can tell you, I'm a child of God. I am dependent on him for anything and everything in life, right? And we can get into that. That's theology talk and all that. Secondly, inspiration, I believe, is infinite, because I think inspiration, true inspiration, you're talking about good music, you're talking about classical artists. I can listen to a country song. I can listen to a Taylor Swift song every once in a while and be inspired. You know what I mean? It's not a genre thing. There's good music when you hear it, or a good movie. When you watch it, you're inspired. I believe that inspiration is a heavenly thing, straight up. and I think it's infinite. I think God provides it. And so when an artist sits down, and in my sessions, when I've sat down and I've tried to force writing, it's always crap, dude. It's always crap. And I might come with a banger. I might figure that out and put out something that's, goes ham on the charts. And I talk about this actually in some of the new music I'm working on. Like, I could be a dope rapper and not be legit. You can win the world and be perfectly unhappy and dissatisfied. So why are you doing it? One, are you doing it for your identity? Don't do that. Are you sitting down and are you forcing it? And are you saying, I need to make this happen? If you're in that spot, sometimes I get that there's that hunger, right? And that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about intentionally forcing it and letting go of that inspiration that I believe is heavenly and infinite. And third, man, as far as creating something that's powerful and something that moves people, experience is key. Talk about, be honest, talk about things that you've really been through. One of the first raps I ever wrote was, Daddy wasn't there when I was 6 years old. The only thing my mom knew was a broken home. It's a miracle I'm still alive to write this song. Satan tried to make me sleep, but the lights are on. Like, that's real. That's where I came from. That's not contrived. That's not, talk about what's actually happening and have that authenticity to what you're doing, no matter what it is, man. So that's three, roundabout things off the top of my head, but
they were good. I hope you people were taking notes. I hope you pulled over into the Bojangles parking lot. Or
there will be a
Chick-fil-A.
quiz later.
That's right. There will be a Google form on the Guy Schtuff page that you have to fill out.
Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
That's right. So, yes. Now, you hit on something. I know I need to get over to John because he wants to talk too. But before you go, I want to humbly ask if you will lay a little something down for us, but we'll come back to that.
Oh, I think I got something.
we threw it on you real quick. We're like,
Yeah,
we do that to people. We do that to people.
For you.
I might have a little something cooked up.
I just so happen to have this whole mix thing back here. Let me pull it off.
Like Anchorman when he pulls out the flute. I totally wasn't prepared.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, you talked about that having that authenticity when you're writing and when you're creating those kind of things, but also like even if it's something that's not per se creative, just when you're meeting with people, you're talking with people, you're hanging out with people. Man, we just did an interview with a guy who's a filmmaker, and he made a film about this facade that we have that we put out as Christians out in front of people, and we try to minister to them and reach them, and we have this fakeness about us, this plasticness out there. But man, what really helps to break those barriers down, and the Holy Spirit uses, is that authenticity, that being just real, man. It's like who you are, your struggles, your failures, all these things about you is what's going to hopefully, like you said at the beginning of this thing, is going to, people need to hear that. Somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody needs to hear who you are and what you've been through, and it may connect with them, and it may connect with the way the Holy Spirit can use to bring the gospel to them and to ultimately save their life and save their life, And so I would just encourage anybody that's listening that is being authentic in your in your walk, in your connections, in your trying to reach people, your evangelism, all these things. Just be who you are in the sense of all your warts, all your failures, all your good stuff, all your bad stuff. Just lay it out there, man, and let people see that who you are and see what Jesus has done through you and to you. That's going to reach people more than having this fake veneer up that we tend to put out there when we're trying to reach people or trying to build relationships with people. That's something I think that translates from a creative aspect to a non necessarily creative aspect, and people just doing their lives and trying to disciple.
Completely. I couldn't agree more, man.
Well, you can't keep it up, but for so long. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's why we talked about this earlier. That's why I like this hour and a half format. You can't fake it for an hour and a half.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We can bring somebody on for half an hour and they can hang in there for but they're going to break after a while. The real them going to come out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So of course we try to hang out with people that they just real anyway and be done with it. And I think to add to what John's saying, we're not saying that like if you are struggling with alcoholism, for
Mm.
example, just keep on struggling with alcoholism. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying. We're saying
You.
Christ can free you. The Holy
Mm.
Spirit already indwells you if you're a believer, and can deliver you from things. But be honest. Like there's brothers walking around who need to know your struggle. I've become very honest, John. My man, I feel like everybody talked to his name John.
It's like
like,
47
like,
Johns
John,
and have been on this
John,
show.
Hey, John. It's like, but I've shared the struggles in my life where anger nearly cost me my marriage and my family, and eventually I changed my whole concept of what ministry looked like because of that, and God's doing something different with me now. But I've been very honest, and anybody who will listen, I'm like telling them everything. I mean, like I meet young brothers about to get married, and I'm like, let me tell you something.
Right.
Like sit down right there.
Stuff they didn't even ask for. Stuff they didn't even ask for. We're like, no, don't.
But they need to hear it, though.
I don't want to know about your trapeze in your bedroom, but I'm all right. I'm good. We don't need to know about
they're gonna put my song on. That's what they're gonna do.
Well, the Bible says, what is it we alluded to?
You cannot defile the marriage bed. Don't defile. You cannot defile.
As long as you ain't bringing in other people or squirrels,
it's all good.
It's on.
Got a 5-iron and a goat.
Game on.
Yeah, whatever, man.
You said 5-iron and a goat.
He is in Thailand. I
mean, can't get it on to just as I am, man. Come on now. Now we're talking.
Exactly. You got to do something.
Oh man. Well, so for our I tell you what. But what we'll do before we go, real quick, before you lay a little flow on us.
Okay.
One more time, where can people connect with you and listen to your music, and even potentially schedule you and have you come and minister to their group?
Yeah. You can search my name online, Jon Macek, JONMACEK. Put that into Google. All my stuff comes up, Spotify, all that stuff.
Even his arrest record.
Right. Yeah. Background history, all that. You guys can see my, mother's maiden name and all that good stuff. If you need my credit card number, it's on there. You got to pay a little extra for that. Really my focus this year, man, I'm on a new thing. I'm working with the group. We're called 2024. Basically our ministry is Acts 2024, man. Honestly, dude, it's awesome. It's taken off. We just released a new song. I had it up actually just for this podcast. I could throw people there. If you go into YouTube, type in the numbers 2024, just like the year 2024 space sound, 2024 sound. We just put out our first song. It's called Alive. And we got a whole full-length album coming. We've been working since the beginning of the year. I really haven't even announced it. I've kind of teased at it. So you guys there's kind of an exclusive here, honestly, for you guys.
We've been scooping all day.
I know, man. We getting the scoop, baby.
I'm telling you guys, I was like, I'm coming on this podcast. I want to give them something. That's out. People can go listen to it right now. We're going to have me and a few guys. There it is right there. John's got it.
That's awesome.
Boom.
Yeah, man. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited for these other guys I'm working with, because people have been listening to my music, and I'm on this, I want to bring some people along kick right now. And these guys, Ben Parks and Ray Free, are friends. We go way back. Very talented artists. I got my buddy AJ's mixing music for us. It's just kind of people are coming into the fold, and God's working it all out. It's something I've had an idea for a long time, and see what happens, man. We're putting out an album this year. That's the goal. So that's the first song for you. Go check it out.
I will do that, and I hope our guys listening will too as well.
Much appreciated.
All right, man. Lay it on us, brother. Give us something. It don't have to be long.
You just want me to spit, huh? You just spit.
Put
whatever you want to do. Like that. You got a track you want to lay down. Whatever you want to do, man. You want to just
it could be
get
something
up.
You already got out there. Just flow. Just
put your grill in. Whatever you need to do, man.
I'll spit one of the first freestyles that I ever wrote. God laid on my heart, man. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, we ready.
Do it.
Father, won't you use me for your heavenly duty? I'm asking for you to move in miraculous ways through me. I know it sounds groovy, but I think what it'll do me is what happened on the cross when Jesus said they hardly knew ye. So get it to win it. I'm staying committed to making the best out of what I've been given, the way I've been living, the way I've been sinning. If cursing to prison, then I'm going to quit it. I see your glory now. I see your holy now. And if you want to use me, Lord, then go on, show me how. Show me how to live while I be navigating this life. Teach me how to love so I can know when it's right. Forgive me, Father, for my ways because I know not how to live and how to love because my soul's caught. But I love you, Father, and I know that you can change me. Take my picture, paint it clearer like it's HD. And that's crazy, but you saved me. So, Father, all I ask is that I imitate thee.
And there it is.
Woo, that fire. There we go.
Amen. That's a prayer.
That's awesome. I love it.
good,
Y'all
brother.
pray that. Let me hear y'all pray that.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Well,
man.
guys, thank you as always for hanging out with us on the Guy Schtuff podcast. Both of you, we appreciate you. You two guys, that one guy in Arizona and that one other guy in Washington. We appreciate both of you.
But the one in Washington, man, you're a little freaky, man. Stop sending me those text messages. Just saying. Just saying. Those text messages are messing me up. Don't be doing that, man.
Hugo calls him to stumble. So,
what if I stumble?
What if I fall?
So good.
On that note, we'll see you next time, guys. God bless. Peace.
God bless, man.